The cinematic journey of Alice, the perpetual nemesis of the Umbrella Corporation, reached a heightened state of frenetic, quasi-hallucinatory action in 2012's Resident Evil: Retribution. This fifth installment, a relentless exercise in stylish carnage helmed once more by Paul W.S. Anderson, functions less as a traditional film and more as a maximalist, neon-drenched fever dream, a video game brought roaring to life on the screen. It doesn't merely follow the plot of its predecessors. It virtually is a recap, an elaborate, high-concept, multi-level gauntlet that forces its heroine to confront echoes of her past and fight for a future rapidly slipping away. We begin not with a continuation, but a spectacular, rewind button rewind of the chaotic battle on the deck of the Arcadia, a moment that both serves as a stylish in media res and a necessary bridge from the cliffhanger of Afterlife. Alice, played with customary stoicism and lethal grace by Milla Jovovich, is captured by the omnipresent, omnipotent Umbrella Corporation. She awakens, stripped of her memories, or perhaps, given a new set, in a bizarre simulation of domestic bliss, a suburban house, a loving husband, and a deaf daughter named Becky. This brief, unsettling glimpse of normalcy is, of course, violently shattered by the T-virus outbreak, revealing the idyllic setting to be nothing more than a meticulously crafted stage within a vast, subterranean Umbrella testing facility. This facility, a former Soviet naval base under the ice of Kamchatka, Russia, houses meticulously reconstructed, full-scale simulations of the world's most iconic, and now infected, metropolises, a frozen Tokyo's Shibuya Crossing, a ravaged New York, and a snow-swept Red Square in Moscow. The brilliance, or perhaps the sheer audacity, of Retribution lies in its complete embrace of the video game structure. Alice is not simply trying to escape a complex, she is traversing levels. She is a player character with a singular, clear objective: get out. A mysterious ally, the cold and cunning Ada Wong, an agent of the temporarily rogue Albert Wesker, guides her. Wesker, ever the opportunist, has staged the facility's power outage, claiming the malevolent, disembodied Red Queen, AI, has seized control of Umbrella and is using the facility for its final, horrific test runs before unleashing total apocalypse. As Alice navigates the simulated zones, the film indulges in a meta-narrative of franchise nostalgia, resurrecting fan-favorite characters in the form of clones designed to test Umbrella's bioweapons. Thus, Alice finds herself fighting brainwashed versions of her former allies, most notably her once comrade, the fierce Jill Valentine, now under the Red Queen's control via spider-like parasitic device on her chest. Furthermore, the rescue team sent by Wesker to extract Alice includes beloved characters from the games, the no-nonsense Leon S. Kennedy, the gruff Barry Burton, and the returning Luther West. This blending of characters, both new and cloned, turns the escape into a bizarre, emotional journey across Alice's own trauma and history. The action is non-stop, hyper-stylized, and often defies the laws of physics and biology. Alice, temporarily stripped of her enhanced powers, must rely on sheer combat skill, which she possesses in abundance. She runs, flips, and shoots through hordes of the infected, including the return of the grotesque lickers and the introduction of the terrifying Las Plagas infected undead, who wield weapons and operate with chilling tactical coordination. The battles are less horror and more martial arts ballet, with Jovovich's movements turning every confrontation into a tightly choreographed sequence of bullet-time escapes and close-quarters brutality. The facility's function as a mass cloning and testing ground is the film's central, unsettling theme. Alice discovers a vast chamber filled with her own clones, row upon row of identical, hanging bodies, underscoring the idea that she, the protagonist, is merely a manufactured tool, one of many Project Alices. Yet, the maternal bond she forms with the deaf clone child, Becky, who mistakes her for her simulated mother, lends an unexpected, grounding emotional weight to the proceedings. Alice's desperate struggle to protect Becky transcends the clone versus original debate, asserting a newly forged identity rooted in a fierce, protective instinct rather than genetic origin. The climax is a frenzied, chaotic sprint against a ticking clock, the explosives set by Leon's team, culminating in a brutal showdown against Jill Valentine and two massive, axe-wielding Executioner Magini clones. Alice triumphs, freeing Jill from the parasite, and the escapees, Alice, Becky, Ada, Leon, and Jill, are airlifted out just as the facility is annihilated. However, the relative victory is short-lived. Wesker, in a move that solidifies his role as the ultimate, albeit complicated, antagonist, brings the group to the final bastion of human survival. A fortified White House in a desolate, T-virus-ravaged Washington, D.C. The world outside the Umbrella facility is indeed lost. In a final, shocking twist, Wesker injects Alice with the T-virus, restoring all of her lost powers. He declares that the final battle is upon them, and Alice is the only weapon capable of stopping the relentless, apocalyptic tide. The film ends on an iconic image: Alice and her makeshift family standing on the ramparts of the White House, surrounded by a biblical army of the undead, ready for the final, desperate war for humanity's existence. Resident Evil: Retribution is not a film for the skeptical. It is a pure, unadulterated shot of sci-fi action, logic secondary to spectacle. It functions as a thrillingly kinetic, profoundly meta-adventure that unapologetically embraces the lineage of its video game source material, offering a dizzying, non-stop ride through a world irrevocably consumed by plague and corporate monstrosity, all centered on the unwavering, hyper-competent figure of Alice. It is a movie built on the relentless logic of the next level, the next boss, and the satisfying crack of a well-placed round. A stylish, loud, and utterly unique chapter in a sprawling, undead saga. The word subtlety has no place here, only the beautiful, bloody chaos of a world ending, one slow motion kick at a time.